Hello. Thanks for coming, everybody. Great to be here. I guess, first of all, it's right around the corner, so it's an exciting time for us in our basketball program. We've had a productive offseason. Our guys have really worked. I feel like we've made some strides in some areas, and we're eager for it to start really officially. We're going to take advantage of today, going 2 hours. And then Friday will be, I guess, the first official day of practice where we can go for a little bit longer than that and start dipping into 4 hours at the most on a given day. We'll take advantage of that probably a few times early on in this fall. So, again, basketball is in the air, and it's an exciting time for us.
Stretch and having the, sturdy practices over 45 days to install what you want to install and get a new system in place?
Very, very important for us, of course, with the transition, with a new philosophy, plenty of new philosophies, really offensively and defensively, and with regard to presses and schemes, baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds. There's so many things to be covered, and especially with a team full of a bunch of new guys, 7 new guys, and Devon Walker, who's coming off a year with the ACL where he didn't play. So it's a very, very new team, and it's a new staff. So these first couple months are as important as any part of this season, to say the least.
And I know over the offseason you challenged Dorian to be a leader. How has he responded to that so far, and what are your visions from him?
He's been great. Dorian individually has played really well. He's been our best player in workouts so far. We've kind of had mini practices as of late, 1-hour deals where it's obviously abbreviated, but we have had competitive circumstances, and Dorian's been our best player, and that was expected. We're going to continue to challenge him to be more and more vocal and to lead. He's always led by example. He's a guy that the rest of our team looks up to, especially between the lines. He's been there and done that. He's played significant minutes on a Final Four team. He's put up big numbers at times in a very, very competitive league. So especially our new guys look to Dorian for that leadership. Casey Hill's been a guy as well who's picked up how many times he's talking and what he's saying, and he's a guy that needs to continue to lead it as well for us to be successful.
Mike, what's going to be the most noticeable difference with your offense? I mean, I know it's going to be more dribble drive, less, probably high pick and roll. But can you just give us maybe a rundown of what to expect offensively?
Yeah, there's still a lot of question marks offensively. For us right now, we have more emphasis on the defensive side of the ball and on skill development, on the level of intensity of practice, the tempo of practice, how hard we're competing with one another. Again, the leadership roles. We're trying to buy as much time as possible for offense. As we're competing against each other, we can continue to learn and evaluate what we have, strengths, weaknesses, and that'll be probably the bigger part of our focus leading into our first couple games. Those last 2-3 weeks, we'll probably spend more time on offense than anything else. Right now, I just want to make sure we're going at a really high level. We still have yet to have a real practice. So we hadn't had tons of opportunity to evaluate. I would imagine that we're going to have an opportunity to take advantage of a big guy, though, in Johnny Bunu, who can score it on the interior, who's done it at the Division I level. He's had a great offseason. I think we're an athletic team. I think there's going to be a lot of parity on our roster, a lot of athleticism and length. I'd like to play fast. I think that we can play fast offensively. To what extent defensively, we'll find out. But I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to be pretty effective with pressing schemes. Offensively, we're very much evaluating at this point.
And what's it like with Igbunu? You mentioned him. I don't know if you've had how many big men have you worked with like that, and how challenging is it to for your offense to work a guy in like that?
No, it's not challenging at all. I mean, I think most coaches would stand up here and tell you they're going to do their best to take advantage of their strengths. And if we have a guy that can score it on the interior, we're going to throw him the ball. We're going to throw him the ball, at least at times. And there'll be other times where we try to score other ways. But we had a big guy at Louisiana Tech whose strength was shot blocking, and he was an unbelievable runner, a kid by the name of Michael Kaiser, who signed recently here with the Raptors. But my first year, I inherited a big kid by the name of Romario Sousa, who finished his senior year really strong, a Brazilian kid who put up numbers late in the season and really came on. And we got to the point where we were playing offense through him. So this was 4 years ago, my first year as a head coach. We changed really about 2/3 of the way through the season offensively in terms of how we were trying to attack our opponents. So how productive John is for us, what percentage he shoots from the field, how often he can convert from the foul line, how well we execute to get him the ball, all those things will determine how many touches he gets.
What have been your impressions of Kevon Allen, and how much do you think he might be able to contribute?
Kayvon, like a lot of guys on a roster, has a chance to start. You know, there are a lot of spots available. Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be hard to beat out, of course. Casey Hill and Chris Gioza are battling every day for that point guard position. Both of them have had really good off seasons, and at times we could probably play them together as Coach Donovan did last year. But Kayvon is fighting for one of those wing positions. He's very talented. He's in the gym as much as anybody that we have. It's a really unique freshman class with him and Kavarius and Keystone being the three guys that have probably been in that practice facility as much as anyone on our team, which is really refreshing. You know, it's exciting about the future of the program.
And who are you picking Saturday night?
In what game?
Ole Miss.
Got to go with the Gators, don't we? I love the Rebels, but I'm a Gator.
Year 3 for Casey Hill, just kind of what are your expectations for him this year? What are you kind of hoping that he takes a step forward in?
Again, leadership, communication. The obvious is sitting there. Casey knows it. You know it. I know it. He's got to shoot it better, and I've got to do my best to put him in positions to be successful. Now, he's got to shoot it better from the foul line, from the arc. He's got to take great shots. He's got to continue to be in the gym more and more. Our staff, including myself, are continuing to encourage him to do that. But one of the constants, one of the things that he can control is his defensive energy, the utilization of his speed and quickness, which are, to me, he's as fast as anybody in college basketball. And so the big challenge to him is, hey, let's keep working on our skill level. Let's get our shooting percentages up as high as we can. But some of that, sometimes free throws fall and sometimes they don't. We're going to do the best we can in those areas. But we have to have you lead, and you've got to play with unbelievable energy defensively. And he's embraced that challenge thus far.
Just your thoughts on bringing back Gator Madness, Midnight Madness, what went into it, and what you're hoping to see on Friday in terms of the crowd. How do you think it'll help you?
You know, I don't know a lot about it, honestly. I was approached by our administration, and it was their suggestion, and obviously we have a really good administration, so I follow their lead on a lot of things. They thought it'd be exciting for our fans to do it again, and I think my players are excited about it. Oh, heck, we don't know what to expect, but it'll be cool, you know, to be in that environment for the first time around a bunch of our fans. I think our staff's excited as well.
Hi, Coach White. You talk a lot about Dodo's leadership, but just how crucial is he to the team's success? Would it almost be safe to say the team goes as he goes?
Yeah, I hope that's not the case, but it may be the case at times. He's our most knowledgeable guy, by far and away our most experienced guy. He's older. He's very, very bright. Again, he's got leadership skills that he needs to use more, and that'll continue to be a challenge. He's our best offensive player. He should be. We hope he's our best rebounder. You know, he's coming off a year where he led the team in rebounding. His offensive rebounding numbers were really good last year. We hope that he defensive rebounds the ball a little bit better. But he's a guy that night in and night out, he's got to at least match his spot. You know, we got to feel at Dodo's position, at least on most nights, that he'll win that spot. Mhm. Devon is got a contagious energy level. He's a guy that you like seeing coming into workouts because he lifts the intensity level of the guys around him. He's a hard worker. He's in the gym a ton. He's a really good defender. I think that the faster of the tempo of the game, the more conducive it will be for him. So again, we're hopeful that we can play that way. I think he could be good in press and half-court pressure. He could be a really good offensive rebounder for us. And he needs to be able to just to knock down open threes. We're going to keep the floor spaced. We have a lot of team speed, especially with those 2 point guards we talked about, and with Kayvon Allen. Brandon Francis is a really good playmaker. So with those 4 guys like Devon and Dodo, Alex Murphy, those guys need to step up and make open threes, just open, good looks. And that's something that we need him to do as well.
How many guys would you like to play in a normal rotation?
I mean, in a perfect world, I'd like to play 9 or 10 guys. With this group, we may be able to play more, but it may not be in our best interest either. You know, those are things that are yet to be determined. Dorian will be a guy I imagine we're going to lean on heavily in a lot of areas, so it might be hard at times to take him out of the game. If John can have the impact that I'm hopeful he can have, you know, there might be times where we try to take a possession off of pushing it down the other team's throats just to give him a breather, you know, or times where maybe we back off on some pressure or some full court press for a guy like John or maybe a couple other guys that emerge or may emerge.
What has Justin Leon's transition been like so far, and what have you seen from him in workouts?
Justin's got some qualities that I mentioned about Devon Walker. He's a hard-working kid, very emotional like Brandon Francis, plays at a high level of intensity, really, really competitive. I've been really pleased with him and his work ethic, how he's caught on to some of the terminology, some of the things that we do, both offensively and defensively, even though that a lot of it we hadn't even talked about yet. So 2 weeks from now, I'll have a much better answer and a much better idea as to what kind of impact Justin can have as well as these other new guys.
Mike, you weren't here last year, but obviously it was a frustrating season for Florida.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, with the new staff, does that kind of just take care of itself in terms of any kind of mental work you have to do with these guys to kind of move past that?
It's a good question. You know, I think that in talking with Coach Donovan, they had a really productive spring, and they used last season as motivation, and we're continuing to try to do that. You know, let's not question how good we are. We know we're better than this, and these are the areas that we need to fix, that we can improve upon. That's more of the approach that we've taken, challenging our guys rather than questioning our abilities. And again, we're a different team. We have a new staff. We're going to have a bunch of new ways of doing things. And we had 3 transfers sitting out, 3 capable freshmen, talented freshmen coming in. Justin Leon, Devon Walker coming off an injury. So we can use the losing season as motivation, and we're going to do that. But this is a totally different team.
How much film of last year's team did you watch, and how did that help you learn about some of the returning players and how they might fit into your scheme?
I watched, I wish I had a number for you, 31 regular season and a couple maybe, or 1 in the tournament, 2 in the tournament, 2 in the tournament. So 33 games. I bet I watched 2/3 of them. I know I watched all of the like opponents, I believe. It's been a while. You know, it was in the first 6 weeks or so of getting here, but it was a big tool. It was the biggest tool, other than talking to former staff members, to learn about guys' strengths and weaknesses, and then about the team's strengths and weaknesses. What made them go what they were good at, maybe certain reasons that they didn't get quite over the hump, especially offensively. I thought defensively, and again, this is we're all ready to turn the page, and this is about this year's team. But I was really impressed with how well they defended last year's team, especially in the half court. We were the 11th ranked defense in the country last year, and that's considering not having a big shot blocker, and also considering defensive transition numbers that weren't great. So we hope to improve those numbers and hope to be equally as good in the half court. Got to communicate at a higher level defensively. Got to block more shots, take more advantage of our speed. And then offensively, we've talked about our shooting percentages that need to go up. Our turnover margins got to get a little bit better. We've got to find the best positions to put these guys into. But that's where it all started, was evaluating a lot of those games from last season. I'll add one more thing. It was amazing how close last season's team was in so many games. 5 or 6 games that I watched could have so easily gone the other way. It was really a unique season. I mean, one stat that sticks out is the free throw percentage of the other teams. What was it? I think Florida was second to last in the country in free throw percentage against them, which is obviously something you can't really work on. Just an unlucky deal.
On free throw shooting, I mean, Casey's been working. Chio's has struggled there on the line. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you seeing from just both of them in terms of improving that, and also just three-point shooting? I think their percentages are pretty
Yeah.
low.
Those are 2 guys in 2 areas that we've addressed they're big factors for us. Chris Chioza and Casey Hill are 2 of the fastest guys out there in college basketball. Casey Hill may be the fastest. So they're going to have space. Guys are going to give them space to stay in front of the basketball, especially in transition. They're going to get open looks. Some of it is technique, and we've dinked with strokes, if you will. We've messed with Casey's stroke a little bit, and he's been helpful. He's been open to that. He's shooting the ball a little bit differently, and that's you got to give him credit. He's a junior in college, and he's changed the way that he shot the basketball for the last 15 years. We feel like that's helped him a little bit. Obviously, muscle memory with shooting is the biggest factor. Guys paying the price, earning the right, being in the gym, living in the gym. Something that Coach Donovan talked a lot about last year. Some of it is mental. It's confidence. As coaches, one of the things that we can control again is how many reps we get with the limited amount of hours you have in the environment that those reps are taken. And what we've tried to do, and I know Coach Donovan did it as well, just in going back and watching practices, but we try to do as much as possible, continue to do so, is taking free throws and taking threes while you're tired. When guys are winded, we try to mix in a conditioning drill with pressure free throws and try to penalize guys for not making those shots. Even though the pressure's different, they're playing in front of fans, under the lights, on TV. It's a different pressure, but we try to at least put them in pressure situations as much as possible. And some of it is just experience. I expect those guys to shoot the basketball better this year. Again, Casey's stroke is improved. There's nothing wrong with Chris Chioza's technique. Hopefully, just as a sophomore, with some of the things that we talked about, he steps up and shoots higher percentages. Chris has actually shot the ball really well from 3 over the past couple months.
Yeah, what, if anything, can you draw from 4 years ago at Louisiana Tech, your first season coaching there, in terms of just coaching a new group and getting acclimated to it, and any bumps in the road that can happen in the first year in the season?
Great question. There are some similarities in that you're learning on the fly. There's a lot of trial and error. We have thoughts about each guy and about the way that we think we may be able to play, and some of the strengths that we think we have, and some of the things we think, hey, we may not be very good at this. And in a month from now, some of those things may be reversed. So there's going to be some trial and error. There's going to be some give and take with us learning from our guys learning from us. Ownership is something we preach every day. And if Dorian Finney-Smith and Devon Walker and Casey Hill come to me and say, Coach, what do you think about this? Hey, we're all for it. We're all for it. That said, the one advantage is when your first year as a head coach period, when you have never called a timeout or run a practice, wow, that was more eye-opening. The one thing that we do know is we have all the support in the world. We have all the resources to be successful. We have good players. We have a plan in place. So we're about halfway there, I hope, Kevin.
Coach, from what little we've seen of John Abunu, he seems like a very quiet guy. Does he open up at all in practice, or is he just kind of yes sir, no sir?
He's very, very passionate. He plays loudly, and we wish all our guys would play loudly. You know, he's very aggressive. He plays at a high level of intensity, especially when the ball's in his hands or he's around the ball. John he's a very talented young man. We expect him to have a really good career here at Florida.
20 minutes and only one mention of Billy Donovan. That's not bad.
And did I mention it?
You mentioned him, yeah.
Yeah, there
Not
you
a
go.
single question.
Thank you.
So I'll go there. Did you reorganize his office? Did you redecorate completely? I know we talked about the mural being up there before, and you decided to leave that up.
Of course. And
How
I point
much?
it out anytime we have a recruit on campus.
You pointed out? Nice.
Absolutely.
It's
Not
just-
that you need to. It's the biggest thing I've ever seen.
I'm just curious. I mean, are you and Billy, are you better now? I mean, like, have you developing more of a relationship? Or do you talk to him? This, that,
Absolutely.
and the other?
Oh, he's been incredible. Coach Donovan's been incredible. I can't imagine, because I'm going through something similar, but at least I'm going through transition with the same rules. It's a different level. You know, it's a different league. We're recruiting a little differently. We're gonna play probably a little bit differently, and there are a lot of question marks with Coach Donovan. Heck, he's going. It's a different game. The NBA is a different game than college basketball. So I can imagine somewhat, but he's what he's going through, and he's taken time on several occasions to reach out or to return a call or text from me. So I know one thing: he wants Florida to be really successful. He's proud of what he's built. Obviously, he's built something special here. But probably most importantly, he wants these kids who he recruited here to have success. So he cares, and he's been very, very helpful, and I'm very appreciative for it.
All right, thanks, guys. We will
No problem.
have a fast group.